Hello, this is David. I'd like to do a video today on a couple of subjects. One of them are facts versus the truth, and the green light experience I had the other day. And I wanted to make a comment. I'm not an attorney. I've never held myself out as an attorney. All of my paperwork, all of my dealings with the law clearly indicate I'm not an attorney. But I can give you my opinion on legal issues. This is not legal advice. I've watched the Huntsman lawsuit, and I've watched the other people that congregated together to want their tithing money back. I see this all over the United States of members, past members of the Mormon Church wanting their tithing money back. That the Mormon Church committed fraud by Hinckley and others saying that they didn't use tithing funds for the City Creek Mall and the bailout of Beneficial Life. I've seen, and I'm not proposing to be an expert here. I am an expert on what I'm going to conclude, but I'm not an expert. The Ninth District there in California, basically, all of the judges agreed that Huntsman was not going to get his money back, and then that court case came back to Salt Lake City. And if you think the Salt Lake City District Court, the federal court in Salt Lake City, is going to side against the Mormon Church, you're in a fantasy world. Here's what I've discovered, and here is my facts and my truth. The First Amendment, the Mormon Church has hid behind the First Amendment its entire existence, and it's won over and over and over again. You're not going to get your money back from the Mormon Church. That's not going to happen. Yes, they have been fraudulent, but the First Amendment overrides that fraud charge. And a lot of regular human beings just don't understand that. And I can understand why most normal people go, God, it's common sense. If you spend tithing money on a mall, you should be able to get your tithing money back. That's common sense. But the First Amendment protects the Mormon Church and other religious organizations from fraud, common sense, morality. You're going to find, and I've sat here in the last couple of weeks thinking about the people trying to get their money back and then analyzing the First Amendment. Now, the First Amendment says this. You may not like this. Don't kill the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. I didn't write the Constitution. I'm not an attorney. I didn't work for the Mormon Church, etc. The First Amendment allows churches to lie, steal, don't tell the truth, can be immoral, can take advantage of people. The First Amendment protects religious organizations from everything that has to do with their religion. How they spend their money, whether they tell their people the truth or they don't tell the truth, is irrelevant. The First Amendment allows religious organizations to lie, to legally lie. I don't like that. I don't think you like it, but it's the damn truth. I'm just a messenger. The First Amendment allows the Mormon Church to lie, steal, misrepresent, be dishonest, etc., because it's a religious organization and it's protected from all of the other laws of the United States. Now, there's a couple of cutouts. There's a couple of exceptions. One is the child molestation. That is not protected by the First Amendment. The Boy Scouts and the Mormon Church was the largest purveyor of the Boy Scouts, and the molestation that's gone on there for years and years, just like the Catholic Church, is not protected by the First Amendment. That's one cutout. That has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with other laws that religious organizations are not exempt from. That's one. Okay, the other one, the Mormon Church is going to find out that when, I have a lawsuit right now I have a website, Cockroach Disability Law Center. You can go on it and trace the lawsuit. But I have a multi-million-dollar lawsuit here now in federal court in Salt Lake City against the Mormon Church for not removing my name as their handbook and as their indication by letter that my name would be removed from the records of the Mormon Church. It hasn't been, and it is not going to be removed until the court tells them to remove it. Now, that is a cutout. The Mormon Church doesn't know that yet, and that may be a very uphill fight for me. I may lose many, many battles. I may even lose the war. But the federal law says this has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with administrative policies, procedures, and record keeping. It has nothing to do with religion. So the Mormon Church is probably going to find out. I may not live long enough, and my suit may be the first one. There may be thousands of suits before one of them is successful, and I'll be long dead. But the Mormon Church has to change policies, procedures, and administrative ways of dealing with people asking for a reasonable accommodation. I don't think this has ever been done before. I think this is unique. When I've done my research and my studies, I've never seen one lawsuit against the Mormon Church on reasonable accommodation. They have not responded to me when I requested reasonable accommodation. That's number one, a violation of federal law. I don't think they know that. That caused me to file a partial summary judgment of $1 million against the Mormon Church because their attorneys, and I'm going to say it, I think they're ignorant. I think they're stupid. I think they're careless. I think they're uninformed. I think they're uneducated. I don't think they know federal ADA law. Now, that's my opinion. And I have a right to say that. And I'm going to say that. Because I see their behavior. And the behavior matches stupidity. It matches ignorance. It matches not being informed. It matches arrogance. They think they know everything, and nobody can help do anything against the Mormon Church because of the First Amendment. And the first response that I got on my lawsuit was, again, an ignorant response. Go to Pacer. Look it up on the Pacer system. The Mormon Church filed a motion to dismiss on jurisdiction. They're saying they're protected by the First Amendment. They're not. They're wrong. And they've got a fat 77-year-old ex-member of the church saying, you're wrong. All of the McConkie law firm, they wouldn't even take my accommodation lawsuit because they don't have any experience. They've got 140 plus attorneys. None of them have experience in ADA law. They turned it over to Fulton. I can't think of David... what's his last name? Jordan, who is a specialist that the Mormon Church, when they can't handle a lawsuit, they go to specialized people, and that's what they did. They referred my case, and you can look it up. David put in that the First Amendment protects them. He's ignorant. I'm saying it to you right now with my voice, and he can sue me. He can sue me for libel. He can sue me for slander. He can sue me. I'm judgment proof, but he can sue me if he wants to. But when he put in a motion, my opinion on that motion is absolute stupidity. For him to try to hide behind the Mormon Church First Amendment rights with ADA law and accommodation, to me shows tremendous ignorance of the law. He was supposed to call me. He was supposed to write me. He was supposed to text me. He was supposed to email me as soon as I said I need a reasonable accommodation. The federal ADA law says you need to get back to that person requesting the accommodation, usually within 2 to 4 weeks. 4 weeks is on the outer skirts, but it's been 50, 60, 70 days. They haven't responded. That's why they have a motion for partial summary judgment. They broke the law. There's nothing to discuss. There's no witnesses to bring. There's no continuance of arguing the law. The law clearly says that when a person asks for a reasonable accommodation, the reciprocant must mandate it. Mandated means legal, federally legal. He was supposed to call me and say, "Gee, David, we got your accommodation request here. Here's what we'd like to do. What would you like to do?" There has to be a mandated dialogue. He didn't know that. He didn't follow through with that. And now we've got stacked up in the federal court. And I don't know what the judge is going to do because it's a partial summary judgment. They didn't respond. They broke the law. There's nothing to debate. There's nothing to further discuss. The law is the law, except in Utah. I'm exaggerating now. The law is the law. The law is not the law in Utah. The courts in Utah are pretty much owned by the Mormon Church. The jurors are owned by the Mormon Church. But this one's pretty clear. They may find a way around it. That's not going to surprise me. They may say this or say that or, reach into the outer space. I call it now the cloud. But they may find Joseph Smith having a new revelation that the federal law doesn't mandate the church to respond to me with a dialogue. It's, to me, open and shut. I don't know what the judge is going to say or do. I think they're beside themselves because I've researched the federal court in Salt Lake City. They don't have a strong background in ADA law at all. At all. I'm not sure I've even seen one case. I think I've seen 3 cases. One was for a comfort animal, one was for handicap parking, and one was accommodation request for modification. Those are nothing. They're nothing. I don't think the federal court here in Salt Lake has any experience in federal ADA law, and I think that's why they're hesitating. They've gone very, very silent. Very, very silent. Now, maybe they're busy. I could be wrong. But I don't think they know what they're doing. And I think they've got a summary judgment for $1 million against the Mormon Church. This is an open and shut case. They owe me $1 million. And you know me. I'm not going to use the money for me. My lawsuit always says that 85% of any judgment goes to a nonprofit organization, Feed the Children in the Philippines. That extra money goes to them. I keep 15% because I have to buy the cameras and the microphones, and I value my time a little bit. And I have expenses with legal assistants and computers and printers and etc. So I've earned that extra 15%. But this is open and shut. Partial summary judgment should be granted. And it should teach the Mormon Church to educate their attorneys on ADA law. It should educate the federal court because obviously if the federal court turns down the summary judgment, I'll appeal it to the 11th in Colorado, the appeals court. And we'll see what they say. And who knows? It may have to go to the Supreme Court for them to say, no, they were mandated by law to have dialogue with you, and they didn't. And even after I filed the summary judgment, like I said, I'm not an attorney, but you know what? I win. I win. If I had seen that partial summary judgment motion come into the court, and I looked at that, and I was the opposing law firm, and boy, these are the big boys. Oh, these are the big boys that handle all the discrimination cases against the Mormon Church. The law firm against me, the head of the law firm, David Jordan, was the Attorney General to the state of Utah. He's not ignorant, but he was misinformed. He didn't do his homework. If I had seen that motion come in on the PACER system, and I go, God damn, David has filed a partial summary judgment? What the hell is he thinking with? And then I would go to the federal law, and I would look, I think it was a 2008 amendment to the 99 ADA law and say, Jesus, he's right. We need to call him. We need to mitigate. We need to try to accommodate. He's been silent. Just digging the grave deeper and deeper, digging the well deeper and deeper. They're arrogant. They think they're going to win, and they might, because there's not real justice in the Mormon church and their lawsuits. I'm not expecting justice. I'm making a statement. If I was him, I would have looked at that and said, oh my God, this has been 53 days or whatever. Give him an email right now. Let's mitigate this and get that $1 million down to something different. And maybe we could go to the court and say, oh, we didn't read our books. We didn't do our homework. Oh, we were on vacation. Oh, he didn't say this clearly. They're not even mitigating. Unbelievable arrogance and unbelievable lack of knowledge. I know if somebody came to me in one of my businesses and said, I need a reasonable accommodation, I know. Boy, I get right on that phone. I get right on the email. Gee, Jim, how can we help you? Let's talk about this. That's the law. And these ignoramuses, and I can call them that, they're ignoramuses. They're uneducated. They don't have the skill level to know what ADA law is. The Mormon Church has always been hiding in the tent, the Boy Scout tent, where they molest children, the tent of ignorance that the First Amendment covers them. They can lie, they can cheat, they can steal, they can do whatever the hell they want because they're a religious organization, 501c3, nonprofit, protected by the First Amendment. And all they do is wake up in the morning, rub their eyes, and every time they get a lawsuit, they go, oh, First Amendment, oh, First Amendment, oh, First Amendment, and they win. They win. They win. They're so used to winning that they're careless. They got a partial summary judgment motion against them right now, and how they're going to get out of it, I don't know. I'd be scared. I would be scared to death that I made that mistake, that I did not, after he requested a reasonable accommodation at the church level, at the McConkie level, and now the Felton, whatever their name is, law firm, David Jordan, and his assistant, she just graduated from BYU, Jeannie. I don't know why. Even Jeannie should have known. Jeannie is much younger. She's in her, I think, mid-30s somewhere. I could be wrong, but David knows better. Good Lord. He's been the Attorney General of the state of Utah. He was coming out of law school probably before even ADA was promulgated. But she didn't. She should have known. She should have gone to him and said, God damn, do you realize that he's right? We have to talk to him. We may not like him. We may refuse his accommodation. But just to ignore him is prima facie evidence that we broke the law. And a preliminary, not a preliminary, a partial summary judgment is a correct motion. And we may lose it. They haven't mitigated. They haven't called. They've done nothing. They're arrogant bastards. Arrogant bastards. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm not an attorney. I can say that. I think that they're ignorant. I think they're uninformed. I think that they should have mitigated after finding out that I filed the motion, but they haven't. And the court is silent, totally silent, because this court doesn't understand yet ADA law, and they're going to try to side with the Mormon Church. They're going to try to find a way to dismiss my motion for partial summary judgment, and they're looking all over the office, all over the books, all over Lexis, and all over Westlaw, and all over, I don't think they're smart enough yet to get onto GPT-4. But anyway, they're looking for some way to dismiss my motion. But to me, it's black and white. I don't know what this law firm is thinking with or about. I may end up getting, slapped on the wrist. I may get slapped in the face. I may get a contempt charge against me. I could end up in jail. I could get a $1 million judgment against me. But you know what? I'm doing the right thing. They need to remove my name from the Mormon Church records as they promised, and their handbook says. And when I ask on 4, 5, 6 different occasions for a reasonable accommodation, nobody called back. Nobody said anything on the mandated dialogue that was required. And they're still silent. And they think they're going to get away with it. And they might. They might. But legally, they shouldn't. Legally, the judge should say, yeah, you're supposed to contact him, talk to him. Did you do that? No, we didn't. Have you done it yet? Have you tried to mitigate this at all? No. We're just being assholes. Oh, okay, well, you can be assholes. The Mormon Church is full of assholes, and they do get away with a lot of shit. But I'm going to stand up for what's right. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to do what is right. Let the consequence follow. These people need to be reined in. They're losing membership. They're selling chapels. They're shutting down wards and stakes. Their membership numbers have gone down. Their missionaries are returning in horrid, terrible numbers, leaving the missions early, going, I can't do this. It's not true. I don't want anything to do with that. They're losing their young people. These are desperate people. But remember this. It's $300 billion corporation. They got enough money. If there wasn't a member of the church forever that ever joined the Mormon Church again, they got enough money to go on for eternity. Time in eternity. $300 billion, you can live the interest off of that. The big 15 can take their six-figure income, stipend, daily housing allowance, BS. But anyway, they don't need any more members. They've suckered you, and they've suckered me to give them enough tithing and enough fast offerings. They never gave it to the poor. They put it in the stock market, and by God, they've got enough money now that they can fuck anybody. And for somebody to make them stand up and be honest, it is unlikely. It is unlikely. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try because I have the legal standing. I have a little bit of the knowledge of the law. I have the disability standing. And the marginal people can't stand up to the Mormon Church. They just have to roll over and play dead. And the Mormon Church laughs themselves all the way to the bank, over and over. They don't mind ruining people's lives. The gay community and transgender and the blacks and the brown people and the Lamanites, they have hated and hated and hated. And I'm going to tell you something. If one of my companies that I've had over the years was sued, as much as the Mormon Church is sued, I would think, gee, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I've got so many lawsuits, and maybe 10 or 20% of my billion dollar income is going for attorney fees. Maybe I'm lying, cheating, stealing, and maybe I need to pull back morally and do what is right. Let the consequence follow. Now, let me end this video with an epiphany that I had 2 days ago. I have colored lights here in my house, and I had this light over here on green. I had my friend sitting here, and I said to my friend, can you see this light on? He said, yes, I can see the light on. I said, and what color is it? He said, gray. I said, shit, it's not gray, it's green. He goes, no, it's gray. When he looks at it, he says, it's a gray light. I'm saying, how can I see with my eyes a damn green light, and he, with his eyes, can see a gray light? Well, here's what I learned. And here's why I've had 48 hours since I've talked to him, almost total peace in my life, because I never understood this. This was an eternal principle that I learned 48 hours ago, and I'm at peace with it. And I said, how do you see gray when it's a green light? He said, David, I'm colorblind. I see gray. Man, what a principle. Because I have fought back and forth between the truth and the facts. The Mormons, I've always said, believe the truth. They interpret facts a certain way, and that's their truth. Well, here's what I've learned now about me, I guess, and other humans, is facts don't exist. There's no such thing as a fact. There is only truth. There's events that are describable. There is a light on, and even that may not be a fact. There may be a blind person that looks at it and goes, no, that light is not on. We see with our physical, and we believe and think with our mind, our heart, our emotions, our spirit. There are no facts. And that's why politically, I've watched this past election, which has been historical. I'll die. There's been a couple of historical presidential elections. John Kennedy, Richard Nixon, and Donald Trump. I see why people see events that they both think are factual, but they're running it through their own brain, their own mind, their own background, nature and nurture, their genetics, etc., and they're coming up with their own truth. That's put me at peace. Because I used to think people lied, cheated, steal, were not transparent, were ignorant. There's a few of them that are like that. But I used to think 90% of the world was like that. I've changed my mind in the last 48 hours. I've learned. He wasn't lying when he said the light was gray. He wasn't lying. That was the truth and the actual fact. So that combination has come and has given me over this last 48-hour period an understanding of how humans will see events and they're not factual. You can describe the event, but what the event means is not factual. Humans all have their own truth. So if you and I try to prove anything to another human being, you're wasting your time and I'm wasting my time. We need to just sit back and go, well, I see a green light. I don't care what they see, and let it go. That will bring you and me peace. If you and I try to convince anybody the Mormon Church is true, or it's a lie, or that Trump is a hero and a king, and Harris is the devil, it's not going to matter. You and I are going to have a lot of stress and a lot of heartache, a lot of high blood pressure. We're going to have a lot of anxiety, stress, sleep disturbances, anxiety. You and I can make ourselves much more healthy. There's no facts. You can say, do you see that over there? Is that a light? Is that on? And what color do you see? And you and I just have to accept it's gray. It's gray to that person and maybe 1,000 or 1,000,000 other people who say that light is gray. So anyway, I want to end this video now, and I want to summarize that what I've given on this video is my opinion, my legal opinions. And if I think opposing counsel is an asshole, I can say that. I'm not an attorney. I'm not under any ethics requirements of the state of Utah. If I think somebody's been ignorant and they're an attorney, I can say they're ignorant and they're an attorney. And I can also say that I think that the history of the federal court in Salt Lake City and the hiding of the Mormon Church behind the First Amendment is evil. I think it's wicked. I think that it's uncalled for. I think that we need some legislative, constitutional change. I don't think religious organizations ought to be able to lie, steal, cheat, steal money, not feed the poor, and tell the people they're doing things that they're not really doing. They're allowed to do that under the American Constitution. I personally think we need to change that with the legislature. Thank you very much.